Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. How are you doing? I have a little special uninvited guest, but she's here. So as you guys are coming in, invite and share, invite and share, invite and share, as I will be doing the same. And on our topic today, how to host your women's conference in 2019. As we know, this is Women's Month, and on March, yep, the month of March, but March 8th will be a Women's International Day as well. I believe that's the proper name. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. So I'm going to find myself here. And as you guys know, I like to do my little watch party. Start a watch party. Okay. Cool. And here we go. Can I pick that up? Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Great. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you guys. We're halfway there. I've been struggling this week, honestly. Just emotionally, mentally, just been struggling this week. So I'm trying to push through, keep pushing, so that you can make sure your week is successful. So as I stated, you might see a little shadow here and there. Gabby, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
You say right here. The camera's right here.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, perfect. So that's probably like the only time you're going to speak for right now. But how to host your women's conference in 2019. Again, as I stated, this is Women's Month, the month of, what's the month?
March 8th.
Oh, well, what month are we in? What month are we in?
March.
Okay, so the month of March is Women's Month. And so this is where most people might have women's conferences in this month, but you might be planning for the future, and that's totally fine. So let's get down to it. I have a couple of tips that I want to give you guys. And as you're coming in, give me a good while. Hey, Jamila, thanks for joining. So as you go into conferences, there's so many different things you can do, like how to be new, how to establish yourself, how to be brand new and different, unique, right? And so here are some things that you can do in your conference and how to host. And then a couple of things I'll talk about is some other people I've helped with conferences in what their mistakes were and where they said they would definitely do something differently. So we'll leave that to the end. And also post your questions in there as well. We're not doing that. We're talking about women's conferences, okay? All right. So having a postcard and a stamp at your conference. You might be saying, what are you talking about, Melissa? So listen, because at conferences we're learning, we're building our knowledge base, and there's a purpose of the conference. And usually you're getting knowledge, you're inspiring, you're motivating, you're doing all that stuff so that when you're leaving the conference, you have a whole new brand of ideas in space, and you know exactly how to move forward. So having a postcard. Okay, you get your chance to speak, okay? Let mommy finish, all right? Thank you. So you have a postcard at the conference with a stamp. And the purpose of that is a nice icebreaker where you're able to write to your future self, basically telling your future self how great you'll be, and how to basically push forward and maybe in a time that you may have been struggling with. And so you collect them all, and the person who's hosting the conference will mail them out next year to the participants. So you already have it lined up because if everybody's email address, physical address, name, and the stamp is already on there. And so when you mail it out the next year, it's just almost, I'm pretty sure they might have forgotten, but that would be a great surprise for them as well as great marketing for your conference coming up again next year, right? So doing that is definitely a different twist on having a conference and what makes it unique. So that is one thing. The other thing, if you guys have heard of Shopify, a lot of you guys know about Eventbrite, but also Shopify, if you already so You can do it both ways. You can have some of your tickets on Eventbrite, but if you already have an e-commerce on your website, then having Shopify to sell your tickets there is just as great as well. The Eventbrite helps with marketing because then as people are looking for conferences, they'll be able to see it. So you can put some tickets on there. Like I wouldn't put your VIP tickets. Maybe it's like that last minute general admission of tickets. Put that on Eventbrite for the marketing purposes. But if you already have a e-commerce on your website, use Shopify. That is another way, and it saves lots of money. The networking opportunities. So the power of networking is just what it is. Like I talk about this a lot to you guys, and I don't know how else to very well put it. When you're in the room with other people, that the power of networking is just phenomenal. I've seen partnerships, businesses come together. I've seen people build products together, do conferences together because they were in the room together. I'm laughing at Gabby, but they were in the room together and they're able to build it together. So the power of networking is powerful, and making sure that you advertise that this is going to be where women can get into the room and really bond together and connect together. Because when we get into the room, I'm telling you, we have some awesome ideas. We really do. And having things accessible, like on an app, social networking, and helping build a community before the event is big. So almost doing like either a Facebook group or a group me, whatever, something like that builds a community and that camaraderie. Like, yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you there. And just saying like, hey, who's coming? What state is coming? It builds that pride of like, I'm going to this event. And then it also tells other people like, oh, you haven't heard of this event? I'm going to this event. And it keeps people connected afterwards. And so you could definitely do things that are paid, or you could do things that are free, like a group me, a Facebook group. But there are some networks or apps that you can do where, of course, maybe like the first month is free. And then after that, you have to pay. So it just depends on your budget. Amazon Prime. So I'm going to talk about this AV. And my disclosure is I do not represent PSAV. I do not work with PSAV, and I don't know PSAV like that. But with how I do know PSAV is that they're too expensive. And it's just ridiculous on how much they charge for their AV equipment. And so what happens is, and they're basically in almost every single hotel, at least in the DMV area, even in New York. I've seen them all over the place. So PSAV has taken over, where they're contracted with the hotels, where the hotels don't have their own audiovisual equipment, and so they contract with PSAV, but their prices are ridiculous. So guess what? Do you have Amazon Prime? I'm sure you do. Majority of us do, right? So for somebody who knows that you're going to be doing this conference for a while, and you know that you might going to be able to utilize this stuff in your business, girl, guy, get yourself an Amazon Prime. You can buy a small projector for about $300, small enough that can fit in your suitcase so it could travel with you to other events. And then you're able to rent things maybe in that local area that you don't have to use PSAV. And I promise you, it's a great investment and you will save so much money. Now, there's a local audiovisual company that you want to deal with, and most likely it will be economical, cool. But if you know this is something you're going to do and you're going to need a projector anyway, make that investment. Make that investment and just go ahead and do that. And then you can also send all the boxes to the hotel. Just make sure you give them a tip because there might be a lot of Amazon boxes coming, right? So the other thing I'm going to discuss is tips for developing conference sessions. So your conferences sessions, that's like call your breakout sessions, right? And so having different unique ones, not your same typical where people speak and you ask questions. Like really, you guys start thinking outside the box, because I know I'm a millennial And I don't like to hear the same thing over and over again in the same type of style. I get up from the main conference area and I go to a breakout session and I have to sit there and listen to them present, blah, 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 and then ask questions after. Okay, we don't need that. Also keep it short, simple, short, but good. And if it's going to be like a mastermind where we're actually working while you're talking and it's actual implementation happening, then of course you need a good 90 minutes for master classes. But let's try to stray away from that. Like, this is new. It's 2019. We need a new type of way to do conferences. So identify a specific issue, especially when we're talking about for women in the workplace. And having a panel. Panels are great because you're getting different perspectives. Not having too many people. I've seen people, or I've been on panels truly with 10 to almost 11 people. Way too big. Way too big. Too many voices. Too many people are trying to get their voice in. Keep your panel to about 4 to 5. 5 is kind of large. 4 is good. And if it's less than that, 3. If it's only 2 people, then I would say have 2 speakers. But having a panel at least 3 to 5 is good. And making sure that you have different people on the panel from different walks of life or different perspectives on the topic that you're choosing, because then it really brings that nice flow into it. And don't be afraid, even though it's a women's conference, don't be afraid to have a male there. A male's perspective is great, especially it depends on the topic that you're talking about. But still having a male perspective is great. I did a conference where they talked about relationship and being a entrepreneur and having that work-life balance and relationships. And we had males on the panel. And like, how can a male really deal with a woman who has this business and that, still having their male ego, and how do you balance dating somebody who's this independent woman? So that was really great. Another topic you can do is set a goal. Give the attendants a goal, a skill, a tactic that they can implement right away. When you're able to implement something right away, it's more effective. And then they see the value in your conference or why they want to come back again, right? Hey, Angie. Hey, Mary. So making sure that you have something that you can implement right away and showing the method so they can see, like, this actually works, right? Have a call with the panelists before your event. This is big. So if you're going to have a panel, please, even when you have your speakers, please have a speaker call before the event, because even though they're speakers and they're very knowledgeable, we're still human. And just like I say to my brides and grooms, even though everybody's an adult and they're bridesmaids and they're groomsmen, for some reason, we kind of get a little loopy and don't really think right when it comes to the day of. So having clear instructions and getting all those questions and Q&As out before they get onto the stage as a panelist is great. You're specify what time you arrive. If you're going to have any, especially for speakers, you need what's your walk-on music, what's your walk-off music, do you need a USB, do you need a pointer while you're presenting, like all of that type of stuff. Do you need a flipboard because you're going to be writing, a whiteboard, whichever. So making sure you ask all those questions and get those all out during your speaker and panelist call will save you a lot of time the day of the event, and your event logistics manager would definitely appreciate that. When it's possible, always use visuals. Even if the person is not going to have a PowerPoint presentation, their picture with the topic that they're discussing about and their social media contact and their email contact is great to have as like that backdrop if you're having a big screen. Having that is great because it's still visual. It's not just somebody on the stage. There's still something behind it. And then if they're like, I really want to speak to this person, their contact is right behind them. They don't have to stay. They don't have to pass out all these business cards, which they should still do. You should still have business cards. But it's still another way to making sure that the speaker or panelists are easily to be connected. Okay? And leave plenty of room for questions. Making sure that you do that, because there have been so many times when a lot of people are like, I have questions, or this person said they had one question, they end up asking 3 questions. So make sure you leave room for Q&A. Okay, so those are the things that I'm going to discuss tonight about a women's conference. And what I said in the beginning, I was going to share to you a couple of people that I've helped, or I've heard people who've done conferences and wish they had done something different. So my friend here, she did a conference, and she met somebody named Brian, who is an event planner, and she said, once I got him, my life got easier. So I say that to say this: when you're planning an event and you have all of the knowledge of planning your conference, that is great. But the day of the event, you always need somebody to be there to run the logistics. Like, that is it. Volunteers, great, but who's going to lead the volunteers? You got to think about that, because the day of the event and the day of the conference, whether it's a 1-day conference or a 3-day conference, you can't be running around. Like, that's just not your logistics. That's not what you're meant to do as a conference host. You're meant to host and make sure you speak to the speakers. Thank you so much for being a speaker, a panelist. You're networking yourself, because this is your brand. So make sure you connect with an event planner. So that leads me to putting my information out there for you guys. I am offering my schedule where we can have 15-minute consultations for free, where we can talk about your event and how I can help you, whether it is me physically being there or me being virtually there for you. And so there are different services that I offer for different types of events. Not one, I don't have price ranges for one type of event is always this. I work with the client and I see what you need to say this is what we can offer. And so definitely please utilize that. The link is there for my watch party folks. You have to go to Rescue Event Planning to see that link there. Sorry, I didn't copy it to myself on my phone. But make sure you reach out. If you do have questions, send me a message. It'll be great. I always answer messages. It may take me like 24 hours, but I answer messages. So I put it there. I'm going to pin the comments so you guys can see it. Thank you, Mary, for joining. Jackie, Stephanie, Phyllis D out there in Cali. Thank you guys so much for joining. And so if you guys have questions, let me know. We can put them in the comments and we can answer them, or you can send me a DM and we'll answer them for our next session next week. I am so glad that March has started. Everybody was using the March 4, where you can march forward to your greatness. March is kind of one of those months where it makes you kind of reflect. Like, January was here, new year, new beginnings. February, love, Black history, kind of a short month. But March is like, okay, if I didn't really kind of get myself together yet, it's March. It's just the third month in the year. And so let me try to get myself together. So conferences are coming, and I know people are planning. Please reach out to see how we can help you in that aspect. Okay, Gabby, do you want to add anything? What do you want to add?
A song.
Okay, so she's going to close us out with the song. You have to stand here and look there.
Okay.
This is the camera.
There is a name I love to hear. I love to sing his word. It sounds like music in my ears. The sweetest name on earth. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope they appreciate that. And thank you guys so much for joining for hashtag Ask Melissa Wednesday. Say hashtag.
Hashtag.
This is the camera. You can look at yourself. Hashtag. Okay. Hashtag Ask Melissa Wednesdays.
Hashtag.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.